The silent cry DR. Thane Voss pressed his translucent hands against the crystalline viewing panel of his laboratory, watching the dying lights of Luminara flicker like candles in a storm. The once brilliant energy networks that powered his world were fading, consumed by the parasitic plague that had appeared 3 cycles ago. Where vibrant streams of pure light once flowed through the planet's core, now only darkness spread like ink through water. The Etherean scientist turned away from the window, his luminescent form dimming with exhaustion. His people were beings of pure energy, their bodies shimmering with an inner light that reflected their life force. But now, across the planet, that light was dying. The plague consumed their energy at an alarming rate, leaving empty husks where once proud Etherians had thrived. The outer districts have gone completely dark, reported his assistant, Lyra, her voice carrying the musical quality typical of their species. Her own glow had diminished considerably over the past few days. The energy drain is accelerating. At this rate, we have perhaps 50 rotations before total system collapse. Thane nodded grimly, turning his attention back to the ancient archives. That filled his laboratory. For days, he had been searching through the oldest records of Etherian civilization, hoping to find some clue, some forgotten knowledge that might save them. The archives contained millions of cycles of history, stored in crystalline matrices that pulsed with fading light. There must be something, he muttered, his fingers dancing over the control interface. Our ancestors faced many challenges. Surely, they encountered something like this plague before. As if responding to his desperation, one of the ancient crystals suddenly blazed with brilliant light. Thane stepped back in surprise as holographic symbols materialized in the air before him, displaying text in the oldest form of Etherian writing. His breath caught as he began to translate the ancient words. Lyra, come quickly, he called, his voice filled with sudden hope. I think I found something. The young assistant hurried over, her eyes widening as she read the floating text. The resonance protocol, she whispered. Is this what I think it is? Thane was already working furiously at his controls, pulling up more data from the ancient record. It's a cure, Lyra. Our ancestors faced this same plague eons ago. They called it the Silence because it consumed the very essence of our being. But they found a way to stop it. The holographic display shifted, showing complex mathematical formulas and energy patterns. At the center of it all was a specific frequency, a harmonic vibration that could apparently neutralize the plague's effects. The harmonic of life, Thane read aloud. A pure frequency that resonates with Etherian life energy, strengthening it against parasitic consumption. When broadcast at sufficient power across the entire planetary network, it creates a harmonic barrier that destroys the plague while healing damaged energy pathways. Lyra studied the data with growing excitement, but her expression soon turned to concern. Thane, look at these power requirements. The frequency needs to be generated by massive resonance chambers, focused through planetary amplifiers that we no longer possess. Our current technology isn't advanced enough to produce this kind of harmonic energy. Thane felt his hope deflate as he examined the specifications. The ancient Etherians had possessed technology far beyond their current capabilities before. The Great Regression that had reduced their civilization to its present state. The resonance chambers described in the archives would require materials and engineering techniques they simply didn't have. We need help, he said finally, the words tasting bitter in his mouth. The Etherians had always been a proud, independent species. They rarely interacted with other civilizations, preferring the quiet pursuit of knowledge to the chaos of galactic politics. Help from whom? Lyra asked. Most of the nearby species lack the technological sophistication for this kind of project. The Kalari are excellent builders, but they work with matter, not energy. The Vorth have powerful computers, but they don't understand harmonic principles. Thane was quiet for a long moment, staring at the ancient formula that could save his people. Then slowly, he turned to look out at the stars visible through his laboratory window. What about the humans? Lyra's form flickered with surprise. The humans? But they're barely spacefaring. They only achieved faster-than-light travel a few hundred cycles ago. What could they possibly do that we cannot? I've been studying their species for some time, Thane admitted. They're different from the other young races. They don't just accept limitations. They find ways around them. When they encounter a problem they can't solve with their current technology, they innovate. They adapt. They refuse to give up. He began pulling up files on human civilization, displaying images of their rapid technological advancement. Look at their history, Lyra. In just a few thousand cycles, they went from using simple tools to splitting atoms to traveling between stars. They faced extinction-level events on their own world and survived them all through pure determination and ingenuity. But do they even know we exist? Lyra asked. We've maintained radio silence for so long. Most species think we're just another myth. Thane moved to another control panel, one that hadn't been activated in decades. Our long-range communication array still functions. We can send a transmission, explain our situation. If anyone in the galaxy can find a way to generate this frequency, it's the humans. And if they refuse to help, if they can't understand the technology involved, then we die with dignity, knowing we tried everything possible. Thane's hands hovered over the communication controls. But somehow, I don't think they'll refuse. From everything I've studied about human nature, they have an almost compulsive need to help others, even at great cost to themselves. The decision made, Thane began composing the most important message in Etherian history. He included everything: their location, the nature of the plague, the ancient cure they had discovered, and the technical specifications for the frequency generator. He spoke of his people's desperation, their impending extinction, and their complete lack of alternatives. As he worked, more reports came in from across Luminara. Entire cities were going dark as the plague consumed their energy sources. Millions of Etherians were entering the final stages of energy depletion, their forms beginning to fade from existence. Time was running critically short. The message is complete, Thane announced, his finger poised over the transmission control. If there are humans out there listening, this will reach every inhabited system within 50 light years. And if there aren't? Lyra asked quietly. Then we wait for the darkness to take us. Thane pressed the control, and their desperate pleas shot out into the void at faster-than-light speeds, racing toward whatever human ships might be within range. Light years away, Captain Sarah Chun was enjoying a rare moment of quiet on the bridge of the UE Harmony, a deep space exploration vessel that had been charting new systems along the galactic rim. The 35-year-old captain had spent most of her adult life in space, following in the footsteps of her grandmother, who had been among the first wave of human interstellar explorers. "Captain, we're receiving an unusual transmission," reported Lieutenant Commander James Park, the ship's communications officer. His voice carried a note of confusion that made Sarah look up from her star charts. "What kind of unusual?" she asked, moving to stand behind his station. "It's on an extremely old frequency, one that most species stopped using centuries ago. But the signal is incredibly powerful and sophisticated. It's also, well, it's not like anything I've ever heard before." Sarah frowned as she listened to the alien transmission. The voice was hauntingly beautiful, with harmonic overtones that seemed to resonate in her bones. Even though the computer was providing a real-time translation, she could hear the desperate emotion in the speaker's words. "Play it from the beginning," she ordered, and the bridge crew gathered around to listen as Dr. Thane Voss's message filled the air dot. By the time the transmission ended, the bridge was silent except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Sarah felt something cold settle in her stomach as she absorbed what they had just heard. An entire civilization facing extinction, reaching out to strangers for help with technology they didn't possess. Asterisk. "Ma'am," said her science officer, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, "I've analyzed the technical specifications they included. The frequency they need. It's theoretically possible to generate, but it would require massive power sources and extremely precise. Harmonic generators. Do we have anything that could work?" Sarah asked. "Not on this ship, but—" Elena paused, running calculations on her workstation. "If we could get enough ships together, pool our resources, coordinate our fusion reactors, it might be possible." Sarah was already moving toward the communication station. "Park, get me a priority channel to Earth Fleet Command. Emergency. Protocols. I, Captain. Connecting you now." Within minutes, Admiral Marcus Webb's weathered face appeared on the main screen. The 60-year-old fleet commander looked tired, but his eyes sharpened when he saw Sarah's expression. "Captain Shun, what's your situation?" "Admiral, we've received a distress call from an unknown alien species. They're facing extinction and need our help." Sarah quickly summarized the Etherian message, highlighting the technical requirements for the frequency generator. Admiral Webb listened without interruption, his expression growing more serious with each detail. When Sarah finished, he was quiet for a long moment, staring at something off-screen. "How many ships would we need?" he asked finally. "Dr. Rodriguez estimates at least 20 heavy cruisers, maybe more. We'd need to coordinate their reactor outputs perfectly, probably using some kind of quantum entanglement network to maintain synchronization across multiple vessels." "And the risk to our people?" Sarah met his gaze steadily. "Unknown, sir. But if we do nothing, an entire civilization dies." Admiral Webb nodded slowly. "Captain, I want you to maintain position and continue monitoring the situation. I'm calling an emergency session of the Fleet Council. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right." The transmission ended, leaving Sarah staring at the star-filled view screen. Somewhere out there, an alien world was dying, and they might be the only ones who could save it. "Captain," her tactical officer said quietly, "what if this is some kind of trap? We know almost nothing about these Etherians. They could be luring us into an ambush." Sarah considered this, but shook her head. "Did you hear that transmission, Lieutenant? The emotion in that voice? No one fakes that kind of desperation. And even if they could, what would be the point? They're asking us to help them with their own technology, on their own world. If they wanted to harm us, there are much easier ways." Within hours, Sarah's communication board lit up with incoming messages from across human space. Admiral Webb had sent the Etherian transmission to every fleet commander, every research station, every major colony. The response was immediate and overwhelming. 43 ships have volunteered for the mission, Park reported, his voice filled with awe, including some of the newest heavy cruisers from the Terra Nova yards. Captain Morrison of the UES Defiant says his ship's fusion core has been upgraded with the latest harmonic dampeners, apparently that might help with frequency stability. Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her calculations, her face flushed with excitement. "Captain, with this many ships, we might actually be able to pull this off. The combined power output would be enormous, and if we use a distributed harmonic array—" "How long until the fleet can assemble?" Sarah asked. "The nearest. Ships will be here in 18 hours, Park replied. "The furthest ones ... maybe 36 hours. Sarah thought about the dying lights on Luminara, about an entire species fading into darkness. Send a response to the Etherians. Tell them we're coming. Tell them not to give up. As the U's Harmony held position in space, waiting for the largest rescue fleet in human history to assemble, Sarah couldn't help but feel a mixture of pride and terror. They were about to attempt something that had never been tried before, using technology they barely understood, to save people they had never met. It was, she reflected, exactly the kind of impossible thing that humans were known for. Asterisk, the harmonic. Salvation. The human fleet materialized in the Luminara system like a constellation of steel and determination. 47 ships of various classes, from massive dreadnoughts to nimble cruisers, formed a perfect sphere around the dying planet. Captain Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the U's Harmony, watching the coordination display as each vessel reported, ready for the most ambitious rescue operation in human history. All ships report successful jump completion, announced Lieutenant Commander Park. Fleet formation is optimal, and quantum entanglement networks are synchronized across all vessels. Through the main view screen, Luminara appeared as a world in crisis. The planet's natural energy networks, once visible from space as rivers of light, now flickered weakly like dying embers. Dark patches spread across continents where entire regions had lost power completely. Dr. Rodriguez, status report on the harmonic array. Sarah commanded. The science officer's fingers flew over her console, analyzing data streams from across the fleet. All fusion reactors are stable and ready for frequency generation. The harmonic resonators we fabricated during the journey are installed and calibrated. However, Captain, I need to emphasize that we're operating completely outside known parameters. The slightest miscalculation could cause catastrophic feedback across the entire fleet. Sarah nodded grimly. They had spent the 36-hour journey to Luminara in frantic preparation. Human engineers had worked around the clock to construct harmonic resonators based on the ancient Etherean specifications, adapting alien technology to human systems through pure innovation and determination. Captain Chun, this is Admiral Webb, came a voice from the fleet communications channel. The Admiral had insisted on personally commanding the operation from his flagship, the UE Sovereign. We're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface, patching it through now. Dr. Thane Voss's image appeared on the main screen, but Sarah was shocked by his appearance. The Etherean scientist's luminous form had dimmed significantly since their first communication, his translucent body flickering like a candle in the wind. Captain Chun, Admiral Webb, I cannot express our gratitude for your response, Thane said, his musical voice carrying exhaustion and hope in equal measure. However, I must inform you that our situation has deteriorated rapidly. We have perhaps 12 hours before the plague reaches critical mass. After that point, the harmonic frequency will no longer be effective. Sarah felt her heart sink. They had pushed their ships to the limit to reach Luminara in time, but the plague was spreading faster than anyone had anticipated. Dr. Voss, we're going to need your help to calibrate the frequency generators, she replied. Can you transmit the exact harmonic specifications to our ships? Already done, Captain. I am also transmitting the locations of our remaining planetary amplifiers. If you can target those structures with your frequency beams, they should distribute the harmonic resonance across the entire planet. Admiral Webb's voice cut through the channel. All ships, this is Fleet Command. We're going to attempt a synchronized frequency burst at exactly 1400 hours ship time. Each vessel will target a specific amplifier site. Dr. Rodriguez, you have overall coordination of the harmonic array. Sarah watched as her science officer transformed into a conductor orchestrating a symphony of unprecedented complexity. Streams of data flowed between ships as fusion reactors were fine-tuned. Harmonic resonators were aligned, and targeting systems locked onto the Etherean amplifiers scattered across Luminara's surface. Captain, we have a problem, reported her tactical officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim. I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations in the planetary core. It looks like the plague is attacking the planet's primary energy source directly. On the view screen, they could see the effects of the core instability. Entire continents were flickering in and out of darkness as the planet's energy grid struggled to maintain coherence. The situation was deteriorating faster than anyone had anticipated. "Dr. Voss, are you seeing this?" Sarah asked. The Etherean scientist's form flickered even more dimly as he consulted his instruments. "Yes, Captain. The plague has reached the core matrix. We have perhaps 6 hours, not 12. If the core completely fails before we can generate the harmonic frequency, the amplifiers will lose power and the cure will be impossible." Sarah felt the weight of an entire civilization's survival pressing down on her shoulders. Around the bridge, her crew worked with desperate efficiency, pushing their equipment beyond safe limits in a race against time. "Admiral, we need to move." "Up the timeline," she announced over the fleet channel. "Agreed. All ships, prepare for immediate frequency generation. Dr. Rodriguez, give us the best you've got." Elena Rodriguez had been working non-stop for the past 36 hours, modifying human technology to produce something that had never been attempted before. The harmonic resonators installed throughout the fleet were essentially untested, built from theoretical specifications provided by a dying alien civilization. Asterisk. "Fleet-wide harmonic array is as ready as it's going to be," she announced. "All ships reporting fusion reactors at maximum stable output. Quantum entanglement networks are synchronized with less than 1 nanosecond deviation across all vessels." Sarah opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Captain Shun to all ships. We're about to attempt something that's never been done before. We're going to save an entire world using technology we barely understand, powered by determination and hope. Every person on every ship in this fleet is here because they believe that no one should face extinction alone." She paused, looking out at the dying planet before them. "The Etherians put their faith in us, strangers from across the galaxy. They believed that humanity would answer their call for help. Today, we prove them right. All ships, prepare for harmonic frequency generation on my mark." The next few minutes passed in tense silence as final preparations were completed. Every fusion reactor in the fleet was pushed to maximum output, their combined energy sufficient to power an entire star. Systems. The harmonic resonators, built from specifications thousands of years old, hummed with power as they prepared to generate a frequency that could heal an entire world. "All ships report ready," Admiral Webb announced. "Dr. Rodriguez, you have." The con. Elena Rodriguez took a deep breath and activated the fleet-wide harmonic array. Frequency generation in 3, 2.1. Mark. 47 ships simultaneously released beams of pure harmonic energy toward Luminara's surface. The beams struck the planetary amplifiers with pinpoint accuracy, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the planet began to sing. The harmonic frequency propagated through Luminara's energy network like ripples in a pond, growing stronger as it resonated with the planetary amplifiers. The ancient Etherean technology responded exactly as designed, distributing the healing frequency across the entire world. "It's working." Dr. Voss's voice crackled over the communications channel, filled with wonder and relief. "The plague is retreating. The harmonic frequency is neutralizing the parasitic entities." Sarah watched in amazement as Luminara began to heal before their eyes. The dark patches that had spread across continents started to glow with renewed energy. The planet's natural light networks, dormant for months, began to pulse with life again. But the victory was not without cost. The massive energy expenditure was pushing the human ships to their limits. Warning lights flickered across bridges throughout the fleet as systems strained under the unprecedented power demands. "Captain, we're approaching critical reactor temperatures," reported the engineering officer. "We can't maintain this output much longer." Just a little longer, Sarah replied, watching the planet's energy grid slowly stabilize. The amplifiers need time to distribute the frequency across the entire planetary network. Dr. Voss's excited voice filled the channel. Captain, we're reading complete plague neutralization in the treated sectors. The harmonic frequency is not only destroying the parasitic entities, but actually reversing the damage they caused. Our energy pathways are regenerating. One by one, the dark regions of Luminara began to glow with restored light. The planet's energy networks, which had been fading toward extinction, now pulsed with renewed vitality. The harmonic frequency was doing exactly what the ancient Etherean scientists had intended. It was healing their world. Fleet-wide frequency generation complete, Dr. Rodriguez announced. All ships report successful harmonic resonance. Planetary amplifiers are maintaining the frequency independently. Sarah ordered the fleet to stand down from maximum power, and she felt the collective sigh of relief echo across 47 ships. They had done it. They had saved an entire civilization, using technology they barely understood, powered by nothing more than determination and the refusal to let innocents die. Captain Shun, this is Dr. Voss, came the transmission from the planet's surface. But this time, the Etherean scientist's form blazed with brilliant light, his energy restored to full strength. Our entire species owes you a debt that can never be repaid. You have given us back our lives, our world, our future. Dr. Voss, there's no debt, Sarah replied, smiling for the first time in days. We did what anyone should do when faced with a call for help. We're just glad we could make it in time. The galactic community has much to learn from your species, Thane continued. Your willingness to risk everything to save strangers, your ability to innovate solutions to impossible problems, your refusal to accept defeat even when facing the unknown. These are qualities that will change the galaxy. Admiral Webb's voice joined the conversation. Dr. Voss, we'd like to establish formal diplomatic relations between our species. It seems we have much to learn from each other. It would be our honor, Admiral. And Captain Shun, I have a personal request. Would you and your crew accept an invitation to visit Luminara? Our people wish to thank you properly for what you have done. Sarah looked around her bridge at the exhausted but proud faces of her crew. They had participated in something unprecedented, something that would be remembered for generations. They had proven that humanity's reputation for impossible rescues was well-deserved. Dr. Voss, it would be our privilege. As the human fleet maintained orbit around the restored world of Luminara, Sarah reflected on what they had accomplished. They had traveled across the galaxy to save a species they had never met, using technology they barely understood, powered by nothing more than the fundamental human belief that no one should face extinction alone. The Etherians had sent out a distress call, and humanity had answered with everything they had. It was, Sarah thought, exactly what made her species special. They were not the strongest in the galaxy, or the most advanced, or the most numerous. But when innocents were in danger, when the impossible needed to be achieved, when hope seemed lost, that was when humanity was at its best. The plague that had threatened to consume Luminara was gone, destroyed by the combined efforts of two species working together. The planet's energy networks pulsed with renewed life, and the Etherean civilization had been given a second chance at existence. As the U's Harmony prepared to lead the first human diplomatic mission to Luminara, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy had just learned what humanity was capable of when faced with the impossible. And somewhere out there, other species in distress would remember this day, knowing that if they sent out a call for help, the humans would answer. The harmonic frequency had saved one world. But the real frequency, the one that resonated with hope, determination, and the refusal to abandon the innocent, that frequency would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. Asterisk.